Good morning, everybody. So, as some of you might have just experienced, we had a webinar without any video. So I deeply apologize for that. I am new to webinars, and that was me just not knowing the software very well, unfortunately. But to try and make up for that, I'm going to quickly go through all the points I talked about in the webinar, just so that nobody misses out and that you guys can still have a quick look at all of the different features. So we started off in the webinar talking about the blog. So the blog here can be found at databasics.com.au in the news and blog section, and then just click on the link for the top 10 flight features to date. So carrying down from there, we have the top 10 features. So the ease of use is definitely one of the best ones that we've seen improve. So we've got a couple of images we'll look at soon to show just how far Flight has come. We've got the video trim before download, being able to trim the starting and end points of a video before you're downloading that content. A direct URL, which allows you to link any of the assets into external forms like WordPress integration, YouTube, email, all of the things we can see listed on the blog here. We've got smart tags, which automatically tag content based on what's actually in the image. We have file relations, which allow you to link images together so that you can work on the same project, campaign, or theme. There's a lot of different ways to utilize that. We have upload links, which allow external contributors without user permissions to upload upload assets into Flight that can still be coordinated by the administrator. We have share links, which allow you to directly share any image with somebody else by copying a link. This can allow Flight images to be shared via other mediums, such as emails or websites or documents, any sort of integration like that. Then we have cropping and resizing, which save a lot of time so that you don't have to bring everything into Photoshop as you might have once had to. Then the My Collections tab. This allows you to keep a personal collection of images. So let's say you work on multiple projects or you have files you use a lot. You can put these into collections so that they're easy to find. Then you've got branded portals. So that is the top 10 features that we want to focus on today. We created an entire webinar on branded portals, so we'll just go over these briefly at the end to make sure that everybody's caught up on what they are. Alright, back to the top here. So the ease of use. So this is Flight. So a lot of you are familiar with Flight. As a default, you click into the portal, you log in, and you're greeted with this sort of home page with all of your assets listed below, just like that. So on the left, you have the folder structure. You have these nice buttons at the top here. The images themselves have a quick view, like so, with all the quick access things like the smart tags, related files, accessible there. And then if you click the down arrow, you have access to the further information and the metadata for those files. So let's have a look at what Flight used to look like. Here it is. So you can already see that the resolution isn't as high, but I don't think that's the idea of this particular demonstration. You can see that things have changed a lot, where in the past it was definitely only branded by Flight. Sorry about that one. And it didn't have the other branding in there, and it was orange and only orange. And the image that you can see behind there shows what the UI used to look like. And if we compare that to our Flight example here, it looks much cleaner now. Let's go back here. And here's the home page. Still a similar structure, but it's definitely improved and doesn't look so blocky as what it once did. Like you can see here, we've got a bunch of options in how we can view these. Thumbnail view being very similar to the old view, and masonry grid actually maintaining the resolutions of images inside of Flight. So that is the UI. So the next section is video trim before download. So a quick way to show this is if we go into our library, we click on the Video Smart album, which sorts through all of our content and shows us only the videos. We click on this Jet video here. We click on the Download button up here. And we click on Trim Video. So Trim Video allows me to play the video, and let's say I want to stop it right here where the text fades. Perfect. So I can see that the starting point is at my cursor there, and I can move that to there, and I can adjust it slightly by doing this so it's perfect, and then I can play until I want it to stop. So maybe I wanted to play on just until that text finishes. Stop there. I can move it a little bit back so I know that this end point is at that point there. Perfect. So by doing that, it saves me a lot of time by not having to trim it in another software. I can just press the download button and import it directly into whatever software I want to use it with, or upload it directly even. Great. So that is video trimming. Next on the list we have direct URLs. So direct URLs can be utilized in all of these different interfaces, but it's very easy to access this in one of our images. So if we go to all our files again, we can click on our first demo of the day, which is this file here, and we can click the little down arrow so we can get further information. So this is where you'll find it. You'll click on the image, click the little down arrow, and down here you can see direct URLs. So the preview image and the original file. So you can choose exactly how you want to present that, and you can copy that directly and paste it into any of these environments so that the image is directly linked and can be presented externally. Now, smart tags. Smart tags is an amazing feature which saves a lot of time and money. So the way Flight searches through content, if you use the search bar, is by metadata or by tags. So in the previous versions of Flight, tagging had to be done manually, where the entry of any metadata, or sorry, not metadata, tags had to be done by hand. You can now use the smart tags system. So if I was to go to this basketball here, you can see the quick view here that there are a few of these little call to action buttons. If I press smart tags, you can see the tags that have been associated with this particular image. So in this case we have a human, a people, and a person, which I think you'll agree is very much what this is. So this works for not just humans, it works for locations and anything like that, and it'll just make the time of the contributor or the administrator much simpler when they're uploading those tags. Now on to upload links, file relations. So file relations is a great little tool. So going again to the sports day photos of this school, we can see several images here. If I was to click on the basketball image again and go into related files, you can see that there's two that are related to it. So I'm just going to quickly unrelate both of these and go back to the original album and make sure these are all related. So let's say that these were all from one shoot at one school. By relating all of these files, they can now be viewed from that panel that we just saw. Deselect all, perfect. So now if I go into this image, I can go into related files and see them all here. So this is a very quick way for me to know what other files were taken. Maybe I want a file from a different angle. It can be utilized a lot of ways in the industry. Perfect. Now, upload links. So sometimes if you have, let's say, an external photographer and you want to manage all of your files within Flight, it's often a pain to have to get all of the files from that external vendor and then upload them yourselves into Flight. This is where upload links come into play. So if we go to Flight, into the settings section up here, click on the little person, click on settings, we see the links page. We can click on upload link here. So from here we have a few upload links that we created previously. We're just going to review the one over here. And inside this you can see a few images that have been previously uploaded by somebody outside of the user base. So from here any contributor can still select the image and can still approve it by dragging it into desired albums. So this is a great way for you to get access to files from an external vendor without having to jump through multiple formats. Perfect. Now, share links. This is one of my favorite features. I use this a lot in my day-to-day job. So any image can be shared by somebody with enough permission. So in this case, I want to share this box, because who doesn't want a good picture of a box? So if we click the little share here, you can see immediately we're presented with a few options. Now, depending on your access level or the access level of the portal you're in, you'll have a few or none of these. But in this case, we're focusing on the share link. So it comes up with quite a bunch of options here. So you've got the expiration date. Usually when I'm using this piece of flight, I'm sending out marketing collateral. And usually I don't like to have it out for a long time in case information changes. So I can set it to 6 months or whatever time is relevant. For some situations I just set never because usually it's not important to have an expiration date. Enabling download, enabling advanced download options. So this is presets and things like that. We have the watermark here, and we can put the copyright on it. So it gives a lot of customizability. So in this case, I want to share it with somebody who wants to keep the box image and use it for editing. So I won't use the watermark, and I'll create that link. Now this link can be copied and shared through any platform and will link directly to this image, but not to the rest of the flight library. This allows you to share specific images with anybody who might need access to them. Alright, crop and resize. So if we go back to the main page, let's try and edit this basketball player. So I now want to download this, and a part of me only wants, let's say, the hoop in this image. So if I click on download, normally I would have had to download the full image, the original, and then edit it myself. But if we click on the download the file type here, you can see here custom crop, custom resize, and then these two download presets. Now download presets have established, using the custom rules, a certain file size or a certain format that can be used every time. So let's say you use Facebook a lot in this case, you can have a Facebook cover photo automatically resize your images to fit that format. So first of all, we're going to look at custom crop. So custom crop, as you can see here, allows me to drag the cursor over any section of the image and copy that image. In this situation, you might not have full control over the exact size because you won't be able to drag it correctly. You can always edit it automatically at the bottom left here so that it can be exactly how you want it. But in some situations you might want a specific ratio like 1:1 or 16:9. This is also allowed in flight. You can select the download option, whether you want it to be a PNG or a JPEG, and then you can select whether you want it to be 72 dpi or 300 dpi. And a quick press of the reset button puts it back to where it was. Resize is very similar to crop, but it doesn't allow you to choose only a specific section, simply change the resolution and change the file's dimensions. Just like that. And you can click download and download that as long as you have permission for that. So you can see how that can save a lot of time when working with flight. Okay, so my collections. So I have a collection here for demo purposes, which I can find with the little 3 dots next to the icon, and I can click on my collections. So if I click on school photos here, you can see all the school photos that I've been using in this particular collection. So you can make multiple collections, and you can add something to a collection from anywhere in flight. Let me quickly have a look here. So I suddenly want to put this banner in my collection. So if I click this here and press the little love heart at the top, it can select between all of my collections. If I wanted to create a new one, let's say this one, school branding, that's an idea there, school branding photos. I can create a new collection and I can add that to that collection. And if we go again, you can see that that's already been saved there. So it's just as quick and easy as that to create new collections in flight. Now these collections can be used in a multitude of ways, as you could probably imagine, from saving particular particular projects, or like I mentioned before, if you have particular files you use a lot, you can save them in collections for easy access. In my own line of work, I use the flight information sheet a lot, so being able to access that quickly and share that out with customers is really important to me. Great, so again, we're on to the last section here, which is branded portals. So branded portals are a great feature. If we looked at the UI how it was before, not being able to use anything except Flight's logo and Flight's color, Flight's come a long way. And portals, being a relatively new feature, have inherited a lot of the new UI changes. But specifically, being able to make branded portals is a new thing for us. So if you look at our Flight instance here, you can see that we have our DataBasics logo, as well as the color scheme that we have chosen, which is blue, to match that logo. So if I go to Portal and click on the demo branding portal, this is an example that we made to showcase how branded portals can be utilized. So you can see the top left, the brand name is shown, or the brand logo. Any title that you want can be presented here. You've got a beautiful cover photo, and then you can put whatever albums associated with this particular portal as you'd like. So let's have a look at the settings that come with this particular feature. So if I was to go to the settings up here, into settings, and then we can click on the demo branding portal here. So we reach this page where all the settings can be managed for our portals. So we've created this to never expire, so that if anybody wants to access our particular example, they can do that. We have the content auto-syncing, so that any content changes happening in the albums themselves will be presented inside the brand portal. We have it being public, so that anybody with the link can access it. And then we've just got some general descriptions and a URL created based on the name. Let's have a look at some of the other settings. We can then change who can download them, who can view the content and what they can view of that content, and what options they have in sharing that content. This is where we get to branding. So Flight allows you to customize any element of the user interface, as you can see here. It's simple as clicking on one of them and then selecting a new color. You can choose any logo that you like. In this case, we've used the example of Great, but I imagine most of you would be using your own company logos in this instance. And you can see what that would look like on the right here. If you had the portal being accessed only to users, you could also customize how it is presented when they log in. And lastly, we have the landing page, which, as you can see here, provides a lot of digital and graphical adjustments you can make to how that content is presented. So you can choose the cover photo. Maybe you want something that's very specific to your business, or just a nice image to call and draw people in. And you can adjust the size of these particular images and the albums. You can name sections, so it gives you a lot of flexibility in how you utilize portals. So that is the top 10 features of Flight. I'm quickly going to go over them again in our blog. So we have the ease of use. Again, it's improved so much. We now have mobile accessibility, we now have mouse over previews, as you can see inside the blog, which just makes it easier to quickly view images. We have video trim before download, making it so much faster to get access to just the amount of the clip you need, saving time for downloading and editing later. We have direct URLs, so that assets can be linked to in these various forms of media. We have smart tags, which save time. It must be noted that these smart tags at the moment are not available in Australian hosted Flight accounts. We are working on that, and hopefully we'll have more information on that in the coming few months. File relations, being able to link one file to many others, able to organize them in shoots, or by photographer, or by uploader. There's many ways that you can use file relations to organize your library. Upload links, being able to gain access from, being able to gain contributions of assets to external agencies or photographers. That's such a great tool, and one that's definitely utilized within DataBasics. Share links, like I said before, one of my favorite features of Flight. just as a quick way to share any content with a colleague, with an external vendor, is able to change when it expires, whether they have download privileges, whether there's copyright information. It's just a very versatile tool. We have the crop and resize. This allows us to crop and resize, funny enough. And like I said, it gives you full control over just how that is customized. Whether that's the width and height, the freeform, a certain ratio, the image type, and the pixels per inch. We have the collections, which allow you to make personal groupings of files, whether that be things you use often, or branded portals. And last but not least, branded portals, which are portals that can now have your brand on them and can be completely customized. So like I said, this has been a big change for Flight as the UI has improved. In the past, we saw that only Flight's logo showed up, and now you can really make it yours by putting your color scheme and your logos and your material, as well as a nice cover photo to make it look nice to external vendors. So that's it for today. We had a question in the webinar that unfortunately I was trying to demonstrate, but I didn't really get to, and that was how Flight portrays file locations and shoot locations inside of portals. So if I was to go back to Flight quickly and go to that our location demo, and I was to select our Great Ocean Road view, and if you click and direct any external vendors to here, if you want them to be able to see where the photos were taken, you can tell them to click on the location itself and then go into GeoView at the top right here. So GeoView brings up the map with every asset located along wherever it was taken. In this case, we have the beautiful Great Ocean Road with all of its amazing views. Again, I apologize for anybody who joined the webinar and wasn't able to see video. I hope that this has made it a bit clearer about all the features of Flight. Any further information required can be found at the blog, as mentioned at the beginning of the webinar. And I hope that all of you have a great end of the year and a really happy holiday from all of us here at DataBasics.